5, 6, 7, 8. It's a mess. Oh, it's a mess.
Hello, everybody, and
Oh, it's a
welcome to the
mess.
podcast. It's a mess,
Oh, it's a
sis.
mess.
So, what exactly is a mess?
Oh,
A
it's a
mess
mess.
is a situation or a state of affairs
It's a
that is
mess.
confused or full of difficulties.
It's a mess.
The mess is when things don't go the way you plan. It is when you have to go off script,
5,
improvise,
6,
ad lib,
7.
sit through the
It's a
awkwardness,
mess.
and breathe through the pain until you
Oh, it's
come
a
out on the other
mess.
side, because you will come out
It's a
on the other
mess.
side. It is everything that makes
Oh,
life
it's a
interesting
mess.
and transformative. It is what
It's
we
a
are here to do.
mess.
It is how we learn how
It's
to
a
be.
mess.
So, join us as we
It's a
dive into this
mess.
week's mess.
It's a mess. Oh. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the podcast. It's a mess, sis. I'm Jessica, and I am a mess, and I'm working every day to discover who I am underneath this mess. I am co-host on this, my favorite podcast. I am a writer, a singer, and I'm doing it all while living in LA and figuring shit out. I've had plenty of strategies about how things would go, but my life had other plans. So I'm wading through this mess with y'all, one thought-provoking topic at a time.
All right, yes. My name is Rena, and I'm your other co-host, and I'm just out here living. I currently reside in the DMV. I'm a content producer, writer, feeler, thinker. I just like making things and being creative. I've been on my own personal self-development journey for a while, and now seek an outlet to share what I've learned, what I've struggled with, and what I continue to absorb, because I believe that not only can it help myself, but others who resonate with my stories and experiences. I'm also working to develop my vision and purpose in life, which I've narrowed down to talking and writing and loving on people while getting paid for it. And that's what I'm doing.
That's dope. And that's a little bit about us. This is episode 31 entitled Hype Me Up, Sis. What's your pep talk like? And before we get into the full episode, we're going to talk about our mess. We have a little segment called What's the Mess? So I'm going to ask Rena, what is the mess?
What is the mess? Well, the mess is
Yeah.
that I've left this section blank, and then I forgot what I was going to say now. Um, the mess is that, like, I woke up today feeling pretty good. Like, I don't know if it's, just thinking about this topic and hyping me up and everything, but I feel like things are starting to, like, come back together.
Yeah.
I feel like before the Christmas holiday, I kind of fell off the wagon. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
But I was dragging. I was just like holding on with like two fingers,
Not two
and
fingers.
it's just like And- but I feel like now I'm getting back. Like my face broke out like terribly. Like my
Oh, no.
diet fell off, and now I'm going back to the gym more
Mm-hmm.
routinely.
Mm-hmm.
Getting my diet back together. I'm drinking more water. I think that's why my face broke out, because I was dehydrated.
Yeah.
Just getting back into the mode of taking care of myself and realizing, oh, this is why the fuck you shouldn't eat pizza every fucking week, and this is why you should
Yeah.
lay off the cheese, because your face looks like what you've been eating. So
Oh
goddamn water. So that's what I mess.
no! Yeah.
Go ahead.
Wow. Thank you for sharing. And I'm glad you're drinking your water. Look at you. Hydrate.
Being hydrated is a thing. It's wonderful. It's beautiful. Yes.
It is. Your body
Yeah.
will love you for it.
Really,
Huh?
I said, really, it will.
Yeah.
All right, Jess. What's the mess for you?
Okay. So the mess for me is y'all know the lottery is like $1 billion right now.
Oh my God.
Okay, so I have been planning on what I would do with that $1 billion if I win. When I win, let me go ahead and let me go ahead and call the universe out to me when I win. Like I have a whole plan in place so that the universe can feel that I am worthy. Okay, you want to hear my plan?
Okay. You gonna
First
give me
things
half?
first, negative. The first thing is first. I might cut you off a little chunk. Break
Okay.
you off a piece. A
A few billion.
little chunk. Huh?
Oh, okay. You know what? Okay.
Wow. Anyway, here's the plan. You might be grateful. You might be included. You didn't even let me say yet. Okay, listen. So the plan is, y'all know I want to have a community where Black people can come and just live and thrive and be, right? So that's the first things first. I will have like 5 of them in closest to major cities. So like one in Georgia, close, maybe like 2 hours away from Atlanta. One maybe like where I am now in California somewhere where I have some farmland. And then maybe one somewhere else, maybe New York or something. I don't know. I'm gonna have several communities, right? These communities are gonna allow for Black people to come and have a respite. Um, and there's going to be farming there. There'll be like, we'll have our own crops. We'll have like a vineyard. We'll have some specialty things grown there. And then there'll be communication between these various communities where we will trade, goods and things. And then we'll sell our things if we need to or want to. I mean, we might not need to because I'll be rich at this point and I can sustain us forever. And then also I thought about having this reality show. And I'm saying that in quotes, right? I had this whole dream. It was very interesting. So I tell my family, right? I'm like, hey, I got signed up for this reality show. We have to come to this house and we have to do all these things in order to win $25,000, right? That's what I'm gonna tell them. And it would be my own crew. It would be me and the camera crew, and I would have it all set up like a reality show, but it's really me doing this shit. So there would be a therapist there. There would be like a trainer, like a weight trainer. There would also be like a chef. So it's just really an exercise in what we could look like if we were given the tools and access to things that, these people have access to. So healthcare, mental health, all these things. And just to see how my family would thrive in that. And then at the end, and like a financial coach or a life coach, all this stuff would be a part of this like reality show. And if we like survive, I don't know how I would trick them to come and do it, but then I would do that. And then I would also, after I edit it, give myself credit as a producer and all these things. Then I would release it or sell it to like a network. I mean, this is the mess. It's a lot. And I had this dope ass dream and that's what I would do. Plus I would save money, obviously.
That's I like it. I like the idea of, your family being in one place and breaking like all the generational curses and not having to worry about money. It's the tricking them part to do it that it's just I'm kind of like, oh, you don't think you could just tell them, hey, I want to do this thing where we document us breaking our generational curses?
It's not as fun. It's not as fun. You gotta have some sort of twist at the end.
Okay.
At the end, because if I tell them now, they're gonna be like, Tootie, how are you affording this? They would know I won the lottery.
You don't want them to know about the money.
No, nobody's gonna know about the money. Nobody. So it has to be a trick so that it's somebody else's money. And then at the end, the twist would be, yo, this was me. I won a little bit of money. I still wouldn't tell them it was the whole bunch. I'd be like, I won a little bit of money. And because y'all completed this course, which I feel like in my head, a realistic amount of time is like 6 months to get us on the right path and to see our trajectory. And to be realistic that they could actually come and do it and set aside this time. So after the 6 months, I'd be like, and the trick is you each get the $25,000. I would have more for them set up somewhere, but that would be like the reveal at the end. So they would know I was like a super millionaire, but they would be like, wow, you had a little bit of money and you share with us. Yeah, I share with y'all. And they would know what to do with it because they would have had a financial coach. They will know what to do with it because they have a life coach. Like they know, you know what I'm saying? It's like the dream.
So when you said
that's you had my mess.
Was this like dream while you were sleeping dream?
It was more like a daydream.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh. I have a lot of those.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. That's how you treat.
Yeah.
What gives it? I'm really interested in this. What gives them like? How do they win the 25,000? Like just by say 6 months. Like, is there like a measurement of saying you're successful now? You get 25,000.
I mean, I think it would be a combination of just growth, just seeing where they are mentally, physically, emotionally. That we'll have coaches there that would document their progress from the beginning to the end. Do they feel like they would be financially smart with the $25,000? Do they have their goals and their dreams kind of in alignment? Have they, I don't think, you can really delve with the therapist, like as far as like their personal things that they're saying. But just, I feel like even me talking to my brothers over this course of the last year, I've seen the growth just in their mindset and then the things that they want, the things they talked about. And I think you would see that and you would have it documented. I would have them doing like confessionals, like just like a real reality show. So they're confessing like what they're feeling and like how their experiences and what they're struggling with and stuff like that. And I feel like, I mean, probably realistically, they're going to get the $25,000 no matter what. But I think with this kind of opportunity where they both express, and this is for my siblings. I mean, I may go and do a greater, call to like extended family after that. But right now, this is just to my siblings. And I know there's been an expression of like therapy and things like that, but it's like financially, it's not really feasible for any of us right now. And I think that's unfortunate that that's a barrier that a lot of people have. And I just feel like even just allowing that for the 6 months and them actually completing that time and doing all the things, I think, that's a success. And I think it would be really, really beneficial.
And you'll be doing this alongside them, like right there in the trenches.
Hell yeah, I will. Listen, man, I would love to have a freaking therapist, a financial coach. All this stuff is me too. I would be there documenting. I would be just as real and open, even though I know the like trick. And I would talk about that too, that, like I know I'm tricking them, but I'm actually here for it as well. Like I'm doing this for me too. I think it could be a really great reality show. If anybody out there has connections, let me know. We do need the $25,000 prize though.
There's a slot open, Fix My Life, it's ended. So Fix My Family could really like just slide in there. I know if I win the lottery, I will definitely fund this. Yeah. For you and your family. I would fund this. I would definitely fund it.
Okay, let me find out. And if any of you listening win the lottery and you want to fund this for my family, slide in my DM. Because a girl is ready. Yeah. So that's my mess. That was a lot, but
that's a whole mess right there. Right there. So to the topic.
Yeah. Which is what? Let's remind them.
All right. So the title of this episode is Hype Me Up, Sis. What's your pep talk game like?
Yeah.
So why are we doing this episode? Why do we think this is important?
Okay. This was a topic that I felt very strongly about because the other day I was being pretty hard on myself. Like it was just one of those days. But it didn't last long because Captain Save-A-Ho came to my rescue. And that's my hype man name, Captain Save-A-Ho. But seriously, it wasn't long before I was giving myself the hype I needed to get out of that little funk. Like I was actually acutely aware of the things that I was like really saying to myself. And it made me ponder how other people hype themselves up in similar situations. Why did you agree to do this topic?
When you brought it up, it really resonated with me. I think this topic is super dope. I'm super hyped for it.
Yeah.
I feel like pep talks are something we do often, whether it's for yourself or others. Well, at least I know it's something that I do.
Yeah.
But I never really intentionally considered what my pep talk is and what it's rooted in and what my goal is. It's just something you just kind of do. And I know for other people, when I'm giving the pep talk, it's definitely to like motivate and encourage them in what they're doing and what they want for themselves. So when this topic came up, I was like, okay, that's it. Let's do it. But let's do it with intention so that we can really motivate and manifest, our loved ones and especially ourselves. I'm always trying to manifest some shit. So I feel like this topic is right in alignment with that.
That's so. Right. Well, I'm glad that you agreed and I'm glad that you are excited. So do you want to tell,
That is a dope topic.
Yeah. So do you want to tell any of the new folks listening how we dig down the conversation or what we do in our episodes?
Okay, so what we do is we dick it down. That is our format, and DIC stands for define, impact, and cope. So for this episode, we will provide our personal definitions of a pep talk. Then we will discuss the impact of pep talks in our lives. And lastly, we talk about how we cope with our definitions and the impact of giving/having pep talks in our lives. Another thing is that we make each section clearly known. So you'll hear us say define. Now we're at the impact and we're down to the cope. So when you hear that, feel free to pause throughout the sections, either at the end, beginning, depends on how familiar you are with our format, and give yourself time to answer if you want to. It's not something you have to do. It's just something that we think would be helpful, if you follow along with us. You can also jot down your answers or your thoughts. Just do what feels right for you.
Right. That's dope. So, with that being said, we are now to the definition, and I will tell you guys how I've defined this thing. So, what is a hype man? I had to look that up. So, with Google's help, I have defined it as. I'm just kidding. It's not my definition at all. This is Google's definition.
Did you really have to look it up?
I wanted to because that's my thing. I wanted to see what Google defines it as. So Google defines it as a backup rapper and or singer who supports the primary rappers with exclamations and interjections and who attempts to increase the audience's excitement with a call and response.
Oh my gosh,
Right?
that just takes all the flavor out of it.
Listen, no, I think that's perfect. I think it's fitting for this topic because when I think of a hype man personally, it's a person who interjects into your negative thought patterns, exclamations of your wonders to help you to get to excitement.
Okay.
That's it's corny, but it's true. It's corny, but it's true. It's like they come in and I'm just thinking like your friend who's like, nah, shawty, no, you look good. Are you bad? Are you know what I'm saying? Hype your ass up. So how do I hype me up? Most times, generally, I hype myself up by just telling myself the truth. I just tell myself true things to point out all the fallacies in my negative thinking. So my hype man is like a calm relayer of facts, usually. Which is weird because it's like hype. You think like super excessive, but like that's who I am normally. I'm like super excessive. So my hype man is like, chill. It's all good. So so that's it. That's the definition of hype man, and that is who my hype man is. My hype man is a calm relayer of facts.
That's really interesting. That's very Virgo of you, first of all.
So Virgo of me.
That's so like earthy. Because as soon as you said, I tell myself the truth, I was like, oh my gosh, are you really hyping yourself up? Are you hurting yourself? But then I thought about it. I'm like, oh, you're trying to like pull out real positive facts that you can rely on to pull yourself out of the situation. So I'm like, okay, I get that.
Yeah.
So that's really interesting because you really are like off the charts, just like hype, like naturally as a person.
Yeah.
So it is interesting that your hype man is kind of quieter. I guess does that force you to kind of sit down and listen? Because you're so hype and dramatic, does it being like calmer? I'm not being petty. I was slightly being petty.
Yes, you were. Exactly. Don't even try me like I couldn't tell. Anyway.
No, but I'm serious in it too. Do you feel like the calmness is so that it can really get through to you? Because when things are so hype, the contrast. Okay.
It's definitely a contrast. And I kind of go into it a little bit later, but there's definitely balance. It balances out.
I like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so what about for you? What is pep talk for you? Because I know you have your own personal definition.
Right. I didn't go quite the hype man route, but I feel like you're a hype man, pep talk, they're kind of one and the same. So for me, I said a pep talk is encouragement, motivation, affirmations to move you to where you want to be, period.
Ooh, okay. I vibe with that.
Yeah. And for me, when it comes to my actual pep talk, I think it's actually the opposite.
Okay.
Like, I feel like my pep talk is like kind of like a loving drill sergeant, kind of like, Major Payne towards the end where he like healing. So
that makes me want to watch that movie. But yeah, I get you.
Right. So it's, it's kind of like, all right, we could do this. Like, like it's more like, all right, like get up. Like,
yeah,
it is like a hype man for real.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. That's really,
a vibe. That's dope. Okay, Major Payne.
Right. That was my favorite movie growing up.
Listen, same. Here we are together. Okay, sorry. Okay. So did you have a few questions that you wanted to talk about in this part?
I do, just because, we're talking about defining things and really getting good understanding of what pep talks are.
Right.
And I guess my first question when I'm like, doing the outline and everything is, do
Mm.
you feel that you're good at pep talks?
Generally, yes. I feel and I feel like I've gotten better over time because most of my pep talk is just affirmations. So a lot of times before, like when I was younger, I would just say what I thought someone needed to hear. And oftentimes that's not what they need to hear. That's not what they want to hear. But more often now, my pep talk requires a lot of listening. So I listen to the person when they're having these moments, and then sometimes we just sit in the silence, and then I'm asking them, "What do you need? What do you want?" And a lot of times that helps them get to the place on their own, which I feel like is the best pep talk, is when you do it for yourself, when you've affirmed for yourself, when it's real for you. But in those moments when they don't really know, I do feel like I give a good pep talk because I feel like I give a lot of space for a person to be themselves. Sometimes people try to pep talk you into being someone else or being them, but a lot of time they give room so that you just feel okay being yourself. And I feel like that's one of the best pep talks that you can give to someone.
See, that leads me to my next question,
Okay.
which is, but before I even get to that question, I just
Are
want you
you
to
gonna
answer this.
answer?
I'm gonna answer it like all together. I am.
Okay.
Because when we were talking about, when I asked, are you good at pep talks? It seemed like you went immediately to talking about giving pep talks to others. So for yourself, do
Oh,
you feel like you're good at giving pep talks to yourself?
generally.
Generally. Okay.
Yes. There
All
are
right.
times where I need the outside person to be like, hmm, pep talk. And I'm like, okay, I can hear more from you than from me at this moment. But generally, I feel like I'm pretty decent at giving myself a pep talk. Again, over time, this has grown.
Yeah.
When I was younger, I feel like I didn't allow myself to need anything. Um, and so therefore I didn't give myself anything. You know what I'm saying? There was no room. Um,
I totally get what you're saying.
yeah. So I think definitely over time now I've given myself room, and my pep talks with myself are a lot better.
So as you kind of give yourself more grace and you're more gentle with yourself,
Hmm.
you go within and you get to know yourself, then
Yeah.
you realize, okay, yeah, I do need some encouragement, and that's okay.
Yeah.
I
That's
ain't got to be
okay.
hard all the time out here in these
Right.
streets.
Hard body
Okay.
for no reason.
So I'm going to get to my answer in it too. I love this. I just love this topic.
uh-huh.
So my next question is, should pep talks be solicited?
Mm.
And I asked that question because you brought up the fact of, like, when you're giving pep talks to others, it's easy
Mm.
for you to kind of give them a pep talk to encourage them to do something that you think they should be doing
Yeah.
versus giving them the feedback that they need. And I'm just kind of going to answer that because for me, I've had situations where I thought I was giving a pep talk and I was killing it, and I just kind of come off as being condescending instead.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, so that kind of goes into, like, do I feel like I'm good at pep talks? I'm getting better. I think I'm getting
Okay.
better at
Yeah.
pep talks. Um, but I guess let you answer the question. Should pep talks be solicited?
I think that's a hard one because sometimes your person is just down and out and they can't even ask for anything. They don't even have the capacity to ask for it. So I don't know that I would say all the time it has to be solicited, but I do think you need to know your audience.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I think that's
Yes.
helpful in any form of anything, conversation, period. Know your audience and know if the time is now. If I'm right in the midst of my shit, I'm not trying to hear no pep talk. Let me cry all this shit out and let me just vent. I don't want to hear your pep talk right now. That shit sounds like trash right now. Let me do my thing. And then when I'm like, when I've done the last tear and I do that exasperated sigh, that means now I'm ready. So if you know me, you know your audience, then you know that the same words that you say 10 minutes after I'm done crying will hit differently than in the middle of my tears. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's about knowing your audience, whether you should do it solicited or not.
So that leads me to my another question that's popped up in my head is if they don't have the capacity to ask, then do they have the capacity to receive?
Sometimes.
Hmm.
You ever got an answer to a question you didn't ask, and then the question come up like, oh shit, yeah, you're right. I don't know. I mean, I think yeah, and
Okay.
I think yeah.
Okay.
What do you think?
I in this moment I'm thinking I think I'm leaning towards like I need something from you that tells me that you need some encouragement. Like, I don't want to just come into the room and like, Jess is crying and, be like, there, it's going to be great. It's going to be all right. Like you got this, and I don't even know why you're crying.
Right.
It's kind of like I would need to probably see, first of all, if you can even speak through the tears and get to that point of, I think I need some type of permission. I think I need some type of permission because I feel like in those times where I've come in and I've been like, you got this, it's okay, like it'll get better. And I'm just automatically just generically positive. Then that's when people are like, don't talk to me like I'm a child. Like, who are you? Where did you come from? Like,
and that's why I said
to me.
Yeah, that's why I said about knowing your audience. Because
Right.
in that moment, if you know your audience, then you know what the green light is, or or you can have an understanding. And then there's also the other shoe, which is to ask. So it doesn't necessarily have to be solicited, but you can definitely say, do you want my opinion? Would you like my advice? Do you want to know what I have to say? Or are you just needing to vent? It's nothing wrong with asking those things. And then it's not necessarily solicited, but they are willing and they are, able to hear you.
Then I feel like it is solicited at that point. If you get to the point where you ask them like, hey, do you mind if I offer some words of encouragement? And they say, yeah, let me hear what you have to say. But I feel like you need something in there that gives you some type of permission to say, okay, yeah, let me go ahead and hype this up or hype man up.
Yeah. Yeah.
So in a way, I feel like that does, to me, that means it needs to be solicited somewhat. Okay. Not like they come to you crying and say, can you hype me up, please, please,
right,
please. It's just like you said, read the room, know your audience.
Yeah.
Because it could be that after, listening for a while, you realize, oh, they really don't want to be hyped up. They really just want to sit here and cry and vent, and you kind of have to be okay with it. I think a lot of times people try to hype people up because it makes them feel more comfortable in the situation.
Yeah, definitely.
It's like, there. Ooh, stop that crying, girl. Shoes, fix yourself. Girl, right. We gonna be all right. And, and it's like, there will be other cats, or something like if, your pet dies or something. Like, there are other fish in the sea.
Oh my God. Whoa, that's horrible. Maybe you need to work on your pep talk skills. Is this what you're telling people? There are other cats out there. What? Oh my God, Rita.
I'm not that bad. I'm being dramatic, but
that's crazy.
Are you done? Or are you finished?
Neither. That's funny. Okay, any more questions before we move on to the impact? Or did you answer them all? Did you even answer them all?
I feel like I answered, am I good at pep talks? And I said, I'm working on it. I think sometimes I'm good. I think I've been working on it as I become more aware of myself. And as I start realizing that other people need different types of encouragement. Because I think it kind of ties into the love language too. I'm definitely a big words of affirmation person. So if you come and you could pretty much just hype me up on anything and I'll just believe you. But then there's some people who they need a little bit more fact. It needs to be true. It needs to have the right timing. So as I realize that people are different and I'm different, I like what I like, then I think I'm becoming better at giving pep talks. But I think I'm one of those people, I feel like I'm an empath and, I be feeling for people and I just want them to feel better. It comes from a good place. But, it's also like me trying to soothe myself in the situation because I feel all your sad ass energy and I'm just like, like, come on, let's raise this up. Like, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And with myself, I feel like I'm becoming better. I think, as I work on just being more positive
Mhm.
and practicing more gratitude, I'm able to talk to myself better, give myself a better pep talk. And it's less, major pain in the beginning of the movie and more major pain towards the end of the movie.
That's lovely. Come through growth.
Right. Gold tooth and all.
Hashtag growth. Okay. Okay, so that's all for the questions that we had. Are we moving on then?
I think that's good for these questions. I mean, hey, other questions may pop up, but I think this gives a good understanding of what a pep talk / hype man is.
Okay, dope, dope. Okay, so for those of you following along and wanting to stop and do your portion, we are now to the impact. So I think I'll go first, and I'll say that the impact of my hype man being calm is that I feel balanced. That's what I was saying earlier. Like I can allow myself to feel as emotional or as exaggerative or as dramatic as I feel in the moment, because my hype man is going to come in and calm it down with some logic and some truth and some reassuring reality. So this particular funk that got me pondering this question came about during my cycle. So I was feeling like super bloated and I was feeling really big and my skin was all icky. And so I started down this path of questioning all the good work I've put in, and shaming myself for having fallen off of all the good habits I developed. And right after my dramatics and the completion of these thoughts, my hype man came into full effect and said very clearly, yeah, you've fallen off, but look at you now. You're back in the gym a full week. You've been consistent with your vegetarian diet for nearly 3 months. You just bought a dress that last year you wouldn't have even fit in. Give yourself some credit. I was like, wow. And I shook my head in the mirror and I was like, you know what? You're right. So I recognized the honesty of those words in that moment. It didn't come with fluff. Um, it was just the truth. I acknowledged the truth in my feelings. Um, and I feel like that's the first step in my hype man having success with me. I can't just rattle off vague, you can do it bullshit to myself because that won't work. It doesn't work with me. So I had to acknowledge first that I had fallen off because that is the truth. But then I gave myself grace because I was, in fact, doing more than nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the impact is that I don't feel hampered by my emotions. I don't try to hide them or avoid them like I have in the past. I allow it because how else can I confront my fears if I never allow space for it? So I allow my space for fears and anxiety, and then I let my hype man take the floor. You know what I mean? So that's really the impact, is that I have been gracious enough to allow the flood of emotions. Like I don't hide away from it. I don't, shelter it and say, no, you can't feel those things. Like I feel them. And the truth is that I had fallen off. I was working out 5, 6 days a week. I was doing very little sweets. I was drinking nothing but water. I was like, there was so much I was doing, and I had fallen off of that for various reasons, not necessarily just because I was like not wanting to. But even if that was the case, it's fine. But like I said, my hype man came in and was like, you right, but take a look at all these things. And I was like, yeah, yeah, you right. You right. Okay, yeah, yeah, you right. So yeah, my hype man is just she comes in and she's like, yeah, man, you right. I need that reassurance that I'm not crazy in the feelings that I'm feeling. You know what I mean? That's a lot of times what's happening. I need the reassurance like, okay, this is why you were feeling like that. Granted, you're bloated. Granted, you're on your cycle. All these things, but that to me is what it is. But the truth of it is, you had fallen off, and I needed that acknowledgement. But then I needed those other things to come in and say, but look at this also. You know. So that's the
Yeah.
impact for me.
Wow. I mean, yeah, it seems like your hype man is very effective for you. Like I peeped that validation. I'm like, yeah, you're right. You fell off.
Yeah.
And then to say, but also you've done these things well. So like, let's not let's not just beat ourselves up here. I think that's dope. I want to say I need your hype man, but if your hype man would talk to me and tell me, yeah, you're right, all those things you think about yourself, very true, I would just be done at that. Wait a minute. What?
Oh my goodness.
That's good for me to know.
Yeah.
Because it just shows that, like, your hype man, your pep talk is different for everybody. So it's good to know. You need to know what motivates you, so that you can then let your friends know how to motivate you. Because I'm hearing a lot of stuff, and I'm like, okay, that makes sense. Oh, okay, like,
yeah,
okay. I'm like, I'll keep that in mind next time. Jess needs to be hyped up. Facts. Make sure it's true.
Listen, for real, I can't deal with no bullshit. Because I remember, sorry, just really quick, I remember one time I had sang the national anthem at school, because it was like my norm. I just sang everywhere. And I started out way too high, and I ended way too high. It wasn't great. It wasn't horrible, because I'm a professional. Let's just be honest. But it wasn't great, right? And I was not happy. And there was a girl in the audience who was like my friendish. And she's like, oh my God, that was so good. And I had no respect for her ever since then. I was like, we both know that wasn't good. Don't do me like that. I would rather you say, you can do better next time. You're right. I can. And I will. Don't feed me bullshit. I don't like it. I don't enjoy it. It don't taste good to me.
I mean, I don't think bullshit would taste good. So
people eat it up though. So must taste like something.
Yeah. I didn't know what to say. You got me stuck on that one. I'm like, Lord, okay. Ah, man.
Yeah. Okay, but what about for you? What's been the impact for you?
So like I said earlier, I know I give myself pep talks, but I never really observed them. And so since this topic has been brought up, I found myself being more aware of my pep talks and just kind of how often, I give them to myself, and just, what they look like, what they sound like. So I usually give myself a pep talk when I need to do something that I'm stuck on or I'm avoiding due to fear. And fear can be in the form of anxiety, low self-esteem is usually one of those two. So I have like a hopefully short story. So for example, the other day, I had this chicken cheesesteak pita with fries.
Oh, that's on fire.
Oh my gosh. It was so good. It hit so deep. It was so good. And I promise I have a point with all of this. So after I finished, the itis hit me super hard. Like, and I know this. I know, I'm like, it's the sugar, it's the cheese, it's the oil, it's the fries, it's the carbs. It's like everything you said you were going to kind of stay away from because it does this to you. I said, nah, I'm going to go ahead and just have it, see what happens. So the itis hit me super hard. And I went to lay down and take a nap at like 7:15 p.m.
Wow.
Yeah. I told myself I'll wake up at 8:30, then do what I needed to do. Now I also told myself that I want to go to the gym at least 3 times a week so that I can be a basic functioning human adult. And I know the gym closes at 8.
Right.
And then I told you I was going to chill on the carbs and everything because they sent me into a food coma. And that's where I was, in a food coma.
Right.
So I'm already halfway fraudulent when it comes to my intentions for myself at this point, and this is where my point comes in. So I lay down in bed, I'm snuggling hard with my pillow, like it was heavenly. And then I just hear myself say, if we want to be different, we got to do different. Ooh. And when I say my eyes popped open, I was like, who the fuck said that? Who said that? Who said that? Who said that?
Right.
I was mad as hell. And then I was like, let me just snuggle back up. And then me said to me, if you want to be different, you got to do different. Period. And then it caused me to assess my current situation. Yeah. I'm like, am I doing the same thing I always do? Is this who I want to be in this moment? And apparently this was just enough. I popped out of bed. I told myself, don't think about it. Just do it. No Nike pun intended. And I know, I'm corny. And then I stomped around my room, throwing on my gym clothes. I knew it was serious when I put on my bra.
Okay.
And then I took myself to the gym. And then after that, I felt better.
That's good.
And I realized that's how I want my pep talks to work for me. I want it to help push me through the fear, the anxiety, I'm bloated, I'm tired, like it won't even be effective if I go down there because I ate so much. Let me just do it tomorrow. Like, no, I want it to be like, who do you want to be right now?
I love that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna steal that. Who do you want to be right now? Yo, I'm taking that. Yo, that's really great. Who do you want to be right now? Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Because and now another piece to that, because I always like to add a little shadow work to what I do here. My pep talks haven't always worked that way. Like that's something that I've worked on. Like it's really been a milestone of growth for me that I could do that to myself and pull myself out of bed. Because I can also hype myself up to do shit I know I shouldn't be doing, like having the goddamn cheesesteak pita in the first place. I had a similar pep talk with myself when I said, girl, you ain't ate all day. Go ahead and have it. It's pretty much intermittent fasting. 1 meal a day. No big deal. And I ran with it. I was like, you know what? You're right. I deserve this. I deserve it. I deserve to go. It's like all day. I ain't had a lick. Yes.
I ate all day. You're so dumb. You're so ridiculous. That's hilarious.
Long story, even longer. I now realize that my pep talks or my hype comes from two places, either intuition or ego.
Yeah.
So it has my utmost good at its core, and it pushes me to where I want to be and who I want to be right now. And it's also usually the one that causes me to have the most resistance.
Okay.
Now the other one, my best friend, my good buddy,
your good buddy,
is going off of what I know. It usually keeps me spinning my wheels in the same place. And I'm also overly eager to oblige because it's what I know. It makes sense. I'm like, yeah, I'm so hungry. I'm starving. Why would I starve myself? I deserve the best.
Right.
They only out here like because it was a food truck. I'm like, they only out here like every week. Like, I don't think they're coming back next week. I mean, they've been out here for the last 3 weeks on the same day, between the same time. Like, I just can't miss this opportunity,
Right.
So that's been the impact for me.
That's incredible. That's a really interesting that you say that you hype yourself up to do bad things. And I wonder is that how frequently we do that. I'm trying to think of the last time I hyped myself. Honestly, I'm struggling with this is maybe a whole different topic because the shouldn't do's in life. I'm struggling with the shouldn't do's in life because I'm trying to find this balance of pleasure and adulting. Because there's sometimes I just don't want to do shit or I want to do this thing a lot. And I'm like, what's the balance here? So did you hype yourself up to have something you shouldn't have? Or did you allow yourself a moment of pleasure? Like, what is the balance? Could you have had that and been hyped up to have what you wanted and only eaten half? Would that have been a compromise? Like, what is the validity of that? Because you're right. Sometimes we hype ourselves up to do maybe things we shouldn't. I don't know. Shouldn't the right word?
No, I don't like should either. Shoulding all over yourself. Because that implies judgment.
You're right.
So I definitely feel you on that. I think it's the lack of intention. I think it's that I was not honoring myself because I told myself earlier what I wanted to do. And then in that moment, I encouraged myself to go against who I wanted to be and started doing the same old shit.
I got you.
So I know it's something that I could allow myself to do. And if I had been more intentional about it, I probably would have allowed myself to do it. And I kind of caught myself in the middle of it.
Yeah.
So I finished them fries. I crushed the fries. Not like, because I told myself, girl, them fries ain't going to be good tomorrow. And then when I had the little thought of, you could just throw half of them away. I was like, girl, that's a waste. Like, we already done fucked up. You might as well finish the fries.
We done already fucked up, bitch.
Right.
Fucked up, baby.
Right. And I'm like, well, we said we're going to start again tomorrow. Like, girl, tell everybody. So what I did was I saved half of the pita though, and I took
Okay.
it out. And I'm like, because I got chicken instead of like, the beef steak or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm like, just have like the chicken tomorrow and just, stay away from the carbs, even though it still got fucking cheese on it.
Mhm.
But I said, okay, that's a little compromise. I'm heading in the direction of where I want to be.
Yeah.
And had I been more intentional from the beginning and saying, okay, I
Mhm.
know I have a craving for this. Like, for instance, I'm about to go get another cheesesteak.
Today?
No, no, Monday.
Okay.
But I'm doing this intentionally. And
Okay. Let me hear
thank
this. Let me hear this bullshit you done told yourself.
Well, it's because me and my best friend, we've been plotting to go to Philly and have an actual Philly cheesesteak.
That's dope. That's
So
dope.
I said, okay, I'm gonna drink some water. I'm
Mhm.
gonna honor myself, and I'm gonna allow myself to have this moment of pleasure, like you said.
Yeah.
Um, and that's gonna be it. I'm hoping that I can talk myself into jumping back on the
Yeah.
wagon.
Yeah.
I think I can do it though. I really do think I'm more intentional this time, and I have this understanding. Like these carbs really fuck you up. Like I was
Mhm.
about to go take a nap at 7:15. That's asleep.
That's
That's not.
asleep.
That's not a
You're
nap.
you're going to bed, sis.
Right. 8:30. I was getting around damn 8:30, 8:30 in the morning the next day.
Right. Right. That's wild. You tried yourself.
But the difference is I'm more intentional with this decision. It's not just something like I'm doing last minute as a knee jerk reaction. I'm
Yeah.
thinking about the consequences, and it's like,
Mhm.
do I want to allow myself to have this? And I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
Like I checked in with myself before, not just kind of doing stuff and like convincing myself as I'm doing it.
Yeah. That's dope. That's dope. Well, I guess that leads us to the cope then. How are
Right.
we how are we coping with all this understanding? And for you, those of you listening, we're to the cope. So I cope by continuing to give myself grace. We say that a lot, but it's very true. Not just in moments of truth. So I give myself grace to feel feelings because I know my hype man will come in and give me the tools that I need to then move forward. And it feels lovely because for a long while, I kept my feelings in such restriction because I didn't want to fall into never ending hole, and not be able to get out. But I cope by continuing to trust that even on the most emotional days, um, I won't fall into a never ending spiral because my hype man will always be there with a net to catch me. So
I
that's how I'm coping.
I love that. You said that earlier. You said something earlier about giving yourself grace and allowing yourself to feel the feelings and how your
Hmm.
hype man supports you in that. And I
Hmm.
I love that. I feel like
Yeah.
that's that I definitely want to add to my arsenal. That my hype man is also leaves room, holds space for you to
Hmm.
feel what you're feeling and
Hmm.
validate that feeling.
Yeah.
And then come with the facts too, like the graceful facts. So I love that.
Exactly, exactly. It's definitely been needed because, like I said before, there were a lot of times in my life where I just felt very emotionally restrained because I didn't, I guess, trust myself enough to have that feeling in the moment and then move past it and continue on. And I felt like fully allowing myself to feel those feelings would, transpired to me just totally just being undone, and I
Mhm.
couldn't have that. But yeah, my hype man has come in and really given me like courage to just feel the full of my feelings. So that's how I'm coping with everything.
Yeah, I love that. Same.
Yeah.
I really resonate with that. Like feel the feelings. Because
Yeah.
how else can you address it and even hype yourself up to be who you want to be or where you want to be if you're not feeling?
Exactly, exactly. So what about you? How are you coping with all of this understanding?
Okay, so I cope with my pep talks and my hype man, my little inner hype man,
Mm-hmm.
um, by being aware, by knowing myself and or getting to know myself by observing, assessing, and adjusting.
Dope.
And just having this discussion. I stumbled upon a real truth for me,
Mhm.
that the pep talk that I resist is usually my intuition, and the
Okay.
one I run to is usually ego.
Wow.
Because yeah, my ego really knows how to talk to me.
Sweet
Just
talking.
whispers sweet nothings in my ear. I'm like, ooh, that cheesesteak sounds so good. You right, you right. But my intuition is like quieter and compassionate. It's kind of just like, now, girl, you know,
Mhm.
not saying you shouldn't, but you might want to think about this, you know.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, and also the question, who do I want to be right now? That has been
Mm.
like a quick little one-liner segue into a lot of my pep talks lately. I
Yeah.
stumbled upon this like on like Apple News or something like that, and somebody was talking about CEOs and how they are able to like motivate their employees.
Mhm.
And they said that this is the question that they ask themselves when they're addressing people. Like, who do you want to
Mm.
be right now? Like when they're frustrated, you're overworked, you
Yeah.
know, who do you want to be right now in this
Yeah.
moment?
Yeah.
So I've been asking myself that a lot lately, and that's been
Mhm.
keeping me on target and in the present. Because
That's
y'all know
dope.
that's where I like to be, because that's where the money resides, you know,
Where the
in the
money
present.
resides.
I will never let that die. I will
Never.
never. So that's it for me. Just who do I want to be right now?
I
And
love
if
that.
that resonates with anyone, please feel free to use it. It's
Hmm.
been extremely helpful for me.
Hmm. I am taking that. That is one thing I am taking. I'm really glad that we did this episode. It's like it's been interesting to delve into like who I am and how things work. And it's funny, if you know me, you know how hype I am in real life. And so it was interesting to see that my hype man is actually calm. So I love it. It's great. So I think we're to the end of the episode. So now we'll just do like a quick recap. And I think to recap, Rena uses her pep talk in a myriad of ways. And after digging it down for herself, she realized that sometimes it was intuition and other times it was ego doing the pepping. And for me, I use my pep talk as a cushion or a net so that my emotions can be free and I don't run the risk of falling into deeper despair. All in all, we are always coping. We all in all we cope by knowing ourselves and giving ourselves grace. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that recap. That recap
Yeah.
hit. I love
Yeah.
that. Yes.
And now we'll do some shout outs. I did just want to shout out to women who give other women a shoulder to cry on and who then wipe those tears and give the best pep talks. I've had so many friends wipe my tears, look me in my eyes and say, sis, you got this. And many a day that has been the only thing that has kept me sane. So shout out to you, my friends, for doing that, and to each of you who do that for your friends. Is there any shout outs that you need to give, Rena?
That's just so beautiful that I don't even want to sully it. I don't want to mess it up. I ditto.
Dope, dope. Well, good people, if you are new, you will find out here soon. This is my favorite part of the episode. We are now to the meditation segment. So what we do is a couple deep breaths, we set an intention, and then we take another couple deep breaths, and then we let you go about your day. So take a big deep breath with me. We'll take a second deep breath. Take one more big deep breath. And now we'll set an intention. My intention is to continue to allow my pep talk to calm me so that my emotions can live freely.
And my intention is to focus on being more aware of myself and being aware of who I want to be right now in this moment when I'm making these decisions.
I love that. We'll take our last set of breaths. Take another big deep breath with me. Take a second deep breath. We'll take our last deep breath. All right, your intentions have been set for the day. Go out there and flourish, sis. Today doesn't have to be a mess.
But it's okay if it is.
So, Liz, y'all, thank you so much for tuning in again. We appreciate your continued support in this new year. We have some really fun and interesting topics for you. Continue listening. We're going to have all the fun things this year. We hope to have some new and exciting topics and adventures to tell you about. So we look forward to your continued support. Is there anything you need to add, Rena?
Oh yeah, just and check us out on IG Live
Yeah.
on it's the Sunday after this episode airs, which would be the 24th of January.
Yes.
And dig down this topic with us. Like
Yeah.
I'm so excited, and I'm looking forward to hearing about your hype man and your pep talks and everything. And just to mirror what Jess said, we got a lot of good things coming this year, and I'm just excited to see what we bring in 2021. So. That's
Hey. All right. Well, we'll see y'all Sunday. We'll talk to y'all Sunday, rather. And y'all will see us. And so we're going to catch y'all on the flip side.
Peace.
Peace.
It's a mess.
Hey, that's why
It's
I
a
can't
mess.
sing.
It's okay. He's gonna talk over my singing though. Okay, it's ready now.